Hi and welcome everyone. It's Lavender Sky Panther with you on Wednesday, September 4th, 2024 for fun little card reading today. And as the title of it says, it is just simply called It's Simple. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I go through this reading and just keep it all simple and just go with whatever messages just kind of want to come through to the surface. And we're not going to go too deep on this. The intent of this is just whatever you might need to hear today, and just something that hopefully inspires you in some way, or you just may see a color or hear a turn of phrase, a number, just something might click with you and maybe even direct you and move you in different directions. But whatever the case, the intent of this is to be a fun-loving, light-spirited, and just well-wishing kind of reading. So let's just get into it, I guess. Just to let you know a little bit of the background before you choose your group. Feel free to choose 1, 2, or up to all 3 of the groups if you like. And if nothing clicks with you on any of these, don't worry about it. It just means it wasn't, anything here in your reading today. Maybe just look at it for amusement's sake then. But otherwise, we have group 1 on the left, group 2 in the center, and group 3 on the right. Just a little bit of the background is that for groups 1 and 3, I did the, just the technique where you shuffle, connect in, focus on what's the best for what does each group need to hear for their best and highest good for today, for right now. And for groups 1 and 3, 2 cards each jumped out. Now the center one, only 1 jumped out, but since the title of this is It's Simple, for simplicity's sake and uniformity's sake, I did go back in and shuffle again to get another card to jump out, so that at least all 3 have each, two cards each, a pairing. Now I did pre-select, but I did connect in and do the jump technique, and I went afterward and selected the charms that I could best pair with each pairing. So that's, I'm going to move the camera in so you can see the little charms and see if that influences your decision of which pile or piles you'd like to select. So here we go. Group 1, we have a violin, a rhinoceros, elephant, dolphin, and whale. Okay. Group 2, we have a teddy bear, a mouse, a pineapple, a donut decorated to look like a pineapple, and another little teddy bear that it's reminiscent of a gummy bear. Group 3, we have a cupcake, a donut, sunflower, a little teapot, and a rooster, which coincidentally, in the background for the last 10 minutes or so as I've been setting up, I've heard a rooster in the neighborhood going, doing its thing nonstop, doing its cry out, its cock-a-doodle-doo. And it's actually early evening, so I don't know why it's deciding to do that. So anyway, maybe something in there in this little background will help all of you decide which group you'd like or groups you'd like. And now we'll go into the reading. So group 1, I showed the little cluster. Just as a refresher, there's a violin, elephant, rhino, dolphin, and whale. And give me a moment. I'm going to just set up your 2 cards, flip them over. And as I was going through this, setting everything up, it became clear when a pair of the cards came out that this reading wanted to be read as a pair, so not just each individual card. However, I'm going to zoom, I'm going to move the camera over each card, and then we'll read it as a pair. So 8, you have number 8, be courageous. If you'd like, you can flip the 8 on its side, and then you would have an infinity symbol, or at least a loose translation of it. So be courageous. You have a red banner, flag, looks like very much of like a Joan of Arc energy, and she's like the standard bearer there. Horse is all ready to enter into battle perhaps, and decorated. Okay, and then we have number 25, or number 7, fill the well. And we have this nice imagery, so it looks like evening, or late afternoon heading into evening that they're doing this work. Okay, so let's look at this as a pairing. And right away what strikes me, and again I'm just going to do not a huge deep dive here, just something very cursory, whatever wants to come to the surface on this at first glance. So but right away I see some of the colors echoing, with the reds, and even the shadows on the horse are like kind of a purplish blue, and we've got that, going on in the sky in the back as well. And the way that it's set up is, we have a lot of feminine energy, obviously, to the extent that these women on the right that are doing the work, are wearing their dresses with their aprons, So in a way, it's funny. I'm just don't know why I'm going there, but in a way, it's like there's a lot in common with the women and the horse. They're doing the work. They have some type of restraint over them, something that constrains them. They can't run freely like this woman in the back. She could drop that book and run, run off in an instant. But these are kind of bound to this yoke that keeps them in balance and keeps them moving. Much like the reins or the bridle of this horse is keeping it restrained somehow. If all of that were dropped in the decoration, just like all the kind of the uniform, if you will, of the stress, if that all were dropped, then these, beings could just run free, but yet they're having to stay restrained and kind of marching in step, for some reason. They don't seem to mind, though. They seem to have an inner wisdom that just knows that, okay, there's a time to be, run free and play in the hay, so to speak. But then there's also a time to put the nose down to the grindstone and get the work done. And that's the balance of life. So this is just asking for maybe a little bit of a balance. Be courageous. Yes, it's saying to like take heart. The word coeur like is French for heart. Take heart, be strong in and of yourself, but it's not to a rigid and defensive degree. She's not, racing into battle and having the adrenaline flowing. It looks like more of like a peace state of whatever she's doing, just kind of idly, moving through the countryside, if you will. And the same thing here, even though they're at task doing the work, there's some kind of ease about it. It's kind of like, all right, this is just what we need to do just to get the job done. So, the moon is here. It's a little bit of maybe, a little luck, luck in the picture. Um, what do I want to say with that? Just that, there is illumination. They're not doing this on the night of a new moon where it's black, and there's no hope, to see anything. They've got everything what they need. They naturally have some illumination. And here, she's carrying this standard or this flag, and that helps her, maybe, guide others, to keep them, with the group. And again, just to stay on task and get stuff done. So I guess what I want to say is this actually is hitting a little close to home for me, and maybe I'm supposed to bring this through. I am trying to finish off a huge task of clearing through belongings of many, many different people, and it's been taking some time, but I'm nearing the finish line, and it really does some days take every bit of strength you can and every bit of heart that you can to go through things and sort things, especially if they belong to loved ones, and to stay on task and get that job done. But eventually, if little by little, and everyone's got a little bit by little bit by little bit, keep moving. Even if there's some days you feel like you're getting nothing done at all, just keep putting one step in front of the other. And eventually, you'll get through it. So yes, it takes courage to finally feel fulfilled that you've completed a task. It looks very much like it's a solitary job. We've got her as the lone figure, and this one up here I feel is more, clicking in on this read of it anyway, that even though it may be all up to you, there seem like others are around, but they're not helping her directly, and she doesn't even have this yoke thing. She looks like she's going to have to take that bucket in hand, and it's going to be a harder task for her to do. But just there's some times where that's just is what it is, simply that. There are times where we just have to like embolden ourselves, keep the courage going, bring it all on our own, bring it ourselves, bring it each day, even when we feel we have no motivation left, just somehow push through with extra courage and strength and just bring it ourselves. Nobody else can do it. It's kind of like an inside job. So that's what it's feeling. So this energy feels a little slow moving, although steady. It is moving steadily, and eventually the task will be completed. And it's just going to take the time it takes. There's no clock on it, but the movement still needs to continue to be forward movement. And that's all I'm getting for this. I hope that made sense to anybody out there. At least it made sense to me. Anyway, we're going to move on to group 2. Thanks, group 1. All right, group 2, give me a moment. I'm going to clear off group 1 and or put them to the side rather. So this is your group. As a refresher, we have the teddy bear, the mouse, the pineapple, the donut that looks like a pineapple, decorated like one, and something that looks like a gummy bear. Okay, so let's look at your 2 cards, and I'm going to put them side by side. And as I said with group 1, it's like they want to be read as a pairing. so not reading each card individually so much, but we'll see where we go. So let me just hover over each card. So you've got, starting off, we've got a 55 or a 10 or number 1, and it's thank God, and it's like a definitely strong number of change there with the 2 5s, double 5s. We've got the palm tree, and the ship off in the distance, a plume of smoke, a man sending a smoke signal, on his knees in prayer, saying, thank God. Okay, and I've had this card before, I've talked about it. I know I was going to show the 2 cards at once, but now something's leading me into this card. Really quick, I have talked about the way his hands are, put together, like in prayer, as people do, the standard, praying formation. And that is, to me, brings the hand up to a point, and that point is like sending out like an antenna messages up to God, right? And he even has like a cone-shaped hat. So that, again, that's like a point and sending out the message that he needs help. And it also can work as something to collect into a point to receive, right? So that's just coming right off, the bat to that. So we've got thank God, also maybe a message of change. Then we've got 54, number 9 is the number of completion. And it says, don't sweat the small stuff. So we've got the little mouse and a big friendly looking bear. And that's it. So don't sweat the small stuff. Now, let's look at them both together. So I think just whatever's first coming to this, I didn't want to do a deep dive on any of these groups today. Just wanted to do like the title of the reading said and keep it, keep it simple. It's simple. I think in this case, maybe the message is, yes, we can thank God that within us is the power and the strength in many ways, physically, emotionally, mentally, like we come so equipped to get through whatever we need to in life. And what also is wonderful about us as human beings is we also have the innate wisdom to discern when we should kind of fret about something and really dig in deep, with the feet in the sand and pray like we've never prayed before and believe and trust in the unseen like we've never had before. And then there are times where we just use those feet, and instead of digging in the sand, we can just flop them on a nice cozy blanket or bed and just not worry about a darn thing. And to know, the difference of when we need to reach in for those times to like seriously pray, and when we are in another, state where we just know we're taken care of and we already are trusting. So we don't need to consciously do this kind of Hail Mary type of prayer. We just, live in a constant state of knowing that in our heart, we know that we're provided for, we're taken care of. And to not sweat the small stuff. He's got a mouse on his head. In this case, this being could be totally annoyed by this little critter sitting on its head, or it could totally embrace and appreciate that there's another little life form there that seems friendly and in harmony, right? And so we also have the ability to control our perception and how are we going to look at things. So this guy, is in full faith putting a smoke signal, or maybe he's out of desperation. But either way, he made some kind of action to put it out there that, hey, I'd like to be rescued, please, right? And so would something come along and save him and see the smoke signal? Well, maybe not. Maybe, it was a divine timing thing and the boat passed and the flame was already out, right? And he had to stay there. But that's another thing, like even in that, don't sweat it, because there's a plenty of nature around. He has shade, he has things for shelter, he has his own innate imagination, creativity, ingenuity, survival skills to make it on that island, probably indefinitely, as long as he could keep his sanity intact. And maybe he could if there are other little animals running around that he could befriend and talk to, right? So I know this is kind of strange where this is going, but I guess it's just a message to, in our daily life, really, get in daily, in a daily way, get into just being thankful, thankful the moment your eyes open in the morning, or after resting. Thank you that I'm here, getting into that space, even if the world seems like crashing down around you and that you need rescuing, and maybe you don't see that ship coming in anytime soon and you're really freaking out. Try to ground down, in nature preferably. If you can get an animal around you, like a little cat or whatever, to pet and some type of companionship if you truly are all alone. And just try to ground in and be thankful for all of the life force within you and around you. And try not to get into a fearful place. Get grounded down into a neutral place that, okay, what can I possibly do? I have done everything and still things don't seem lining up. Things still seem pretty tragic. If you're in that space, just get still and quiet. And you don't have to surrender. Someone once told me, you don't have to give up. Don't give up, but you can give in to knowing there's a force greater than you that will take care of you. Even if you're on the ground crying, release it, let it go, because that's the moment that that ship can come in. The ship's not going to be able to come in if you're not even seeing it or opening yourself up to see it and believe it, that a ship can come in, okay? And in this case, don't sweat the small stuff. The more you can get into that feeling, like even here, this could be considered huge, a big deal, survival. But if you could also look at it that, okay, well, if I can just calm down, maybe I'll get the divine inspiration of, what to do next and how I can do the next step, do the next right thing, create a shelter for myself, secure water, do whatever you need to do. And it can come flowing through once we can kind of relax into things and try not to, quote unquote, sweat the small stuff, because it doesn't matter if we're relaxed. We're going to be getting the messages in and the things that we need. If we feel like we just can't do it alone, you're not. You have a bigger, higher power that can flow through you to make what seems impossible possible. Okay, that's all I'm getting for group 2. Went a little more than I wanted to originally, but I think the message is clear there, hopefully anyway. All right, now we're going to go to group 3. And group 3 is a little refresher. You have the cute decorated cupcake and donut, sunflower, teapot, and rooster. So give me a moment to flip your cards over. And as I said with the other 2 groups, for whatever reason, they kind of wanted to be in pairs, read in pairs today. And I'll go over each card individually and then hopefully look at it as a pair. Sometimes that's been working, sometimes not. So anyway, we've had this card recently. Number 29, or it's an 11, or it could be number 2. Say, I'm sorry. Now let's see. We have what looks like a young woman. She's got her hand on her heart space. A young man. Looks like it could be summertime, maybe spring. Okay. And then we have number 2, start anew. The beautiful butterfly. Looks like the stars are even coming out. They're kind of flying just as it's turning to the evening, perhaps. And we've got the caterpillar looking up. So it's a beautiful scene there with many butterflies, right? And the color of the flower, whatever those are picked up in the wings of the butterfly or vice versa. Okay, so let's see. Say I'm so sorry, start anew. Okay, well, instantly think the message is probably pretty simple. And again, I'm trying to keep to the theme of this. The title of the reading, it's simple. So I'm trying to just stick with whatever messages just want to rise up to the surface, not necessarily a really deep look at all of this. But right away, what I'm getting with say I'm sorry is that yes, in this case, I think this was the same as when I read this card before. It's still coming through this way. Even though she's interacting, looks like, with another person, or I should say not interacting, but standing there with another person, it more looks like she needs to forgive herself first before she can move on. The gentleman kind of seems indifferent. It's not like he's reacting to her going, oh, holding her heart. So I think it's just more of like he's just observing, like, okay, you ready to forgive yourself now so that you can then release and free yourself. Even the fence here looks like echoes, reminds of like a jail bars. Like she's the only one. She's free though, but it's almost like whatever she's feeling and the burden she's carrying, it's just her and her alone. So I get a sense that if she will just really connect in and say she's sorry to herself and forgive herself, then she can be released, and then maybe she can let this love in or whatever is going on there, right? Then once she can do that, and again, that's just metaphorically speaking, like maybe one of you can identify with this, and this is what you need to hear today. You can say you're sorry to yourself and forgive yourself. You release yourself to let in a whole bunch of other beautiful things, whether it's a relationship or anything else that can come your way. And then you can feel lighter, like drop the sandbags you're carrying, drop the baggage you've been carrying around with you. It's time to let it go. Well overdue time to let it go, probably. And just so that you can truly fly, be free to explore and go see and experience other things from a whole new perspective. You're no longer ground bound, like this caterpillar. And look at it's like this caterpillar is dreaming of flying, and yes, it will one day, and it knows it inside, right? But it's got to go through quite a lot in life to get there, right? And that's the same thing. There's nothing wrong about carrying around the baggage or going through these moments of self-judgment or maybe, self-punishment even. Don't, though. Let go now. It's time. If you knew and could see yourself as others see you, like this represents that. If you could see yourself as God sees you, or the source of all of life sees you and is you, it would say, okay, we've experienced these kind of low times and what it's like to self-judge and self-criticize and hold on to things maybe we don't need to. Okay, now I know what that feels like. Okay, but now drop it like a hot potato and let's fly. Okay, start anew. There's always a new beginning. There's many new beginnings in a lifetime. And enjoy life to the fullest while we're here. There's another message. I don't know, I forget the lifespan of a caterpillar to a butterfly, but I know the lifespan of a butterfly is pretty fleeting. But yet, does it care? No, it's not even looking at that. It's just looking at enjoying the now, being in the moment, and enjoying every bit of that moment and making it a golden moment. In life, sometimes we go through some really bitter and bad stuff, and more into this energy, she feels very weighted down and very heavy here. But, it's, you'll find that there's other experiences that maybe even feel worse. So looking back at this moment, this freeze frame photo moment, she could say, oh my God, I didn't realize it, but that was actually a golden moment if I really think about it compared to the other stuff. And then yet again, other things will happen where, better things are on the horizon. And then you can just also not look back, just let that go. It was just an experience. You had it, you felt it, you know what it's like. And you know what you want to choose differently, looking forward to the future. And it will be sweeter, like these things on the table, right? And then you can, instead of howl at the moon, you can, cock-a-doodle-doo like that rooster at the sun in the morning. Or in this case, I just had a rooster going off, in the late evening, later afternoon hours, for I don't know why. But anyway, just start anew, whatever that looks like for you and on your terms, just like the little rooster there. Okay. Well, that's it for now, and I wish everyone a beautiful and happy now. And above all, I wish tremendous peace and love to you. Lavender Sky Panther, bye.